Well, there we go. We're live. Good morning, everybody. You know, for those of you sitting here waiting, I'm going to share a little secret with you. I've been walking around, putzing around the house, doing things that needed doing, picking up things, my kids leaving stuff all over my desk, and cleaning up, thinking it was earlier than it was. Then I look up and I see it's 9:07. And so sorry about that. My own lateness was just not realizing how late it had just gotten all of a sudden. So good morning. Happy coffee. There you go. All right. Good morning to everybody there. Master Finn, I see you're here. And going to go through and just say good morning to everybody and say hi. There's Rowan. What do you have to say this morning? What do you got?
I got to ride in a limo yesterday.
Yeah, you did. You got to ride in a limo. Birthday party stuff. And so where'd you go in the limo?
Get my nails done.
Oh, there it is. All right. You got anything else? See ya.
Wait. I'm also excited because my birthday's in a few days.
All right. Yes, it is. So is mine.
Yeah.
Is yours before mine or after mine?
Before yours.
Yep. By a couple days. All right. We'll see you later. Rainy may or may not make it in here this morning. I don't know yet, guys. And so we'll see. The last I saw her, she was still sound asleep. Now, she had pretty much an open day with her massage yesterday. Then all of a sudden, early afternoon, they called and she had 3 massages all lined up at like 5, 6:30, 8 o'clock, things like that. So she had to go down, and she and her massage partner, Kendra, they had to go down and do massages. And they were all couples massages. So they were all together. And each one of these 3. And so I went down and I met her at the hotel bar, and it's an Irish pub. It's brought back some good old memories. Charlie's Pub, an Irish pub at the Water Street Inn in Stillwater, Minnesota. And playing that night was a band that these 2 bands have existed for most of my adult life. Bedlam Boys and the Tim Malloys. And Bedlam Boys was the original band with a couple of different band members. Then the Tim Malloys. Go to YouTube and look up the Tim Malloys, and you're going to see who they are. But Bedlam Boys was playing last night, just 3 of them. And Rainey had told me the night before they had massages as well, and they stopped down and got a salad afterwards at the pub. And she said, I think one of your friends is there. And sure enough, there was one of my old buddies from the Renaissance Festival days and our reenacting days. Now, he's always been a musician. They've always had bands. They've been putting out their CDs and stuff. So they were playing last night. And he did a couple of favorites for me last night, which was pretty cool. And so we had a good time with that. Hey, Audrey, good to see you. I just saw the all capital letters, Scotty. So, Audrey, how are you doing? Good to see you. And Susie Q, good to see you as well. Field Guy, glad you're here. Still single? Kidding. That's a bad joke. And of course, Kevin Olson from Minnesota. How you doing? Katie from MN. KD, not Katie. KD. And Steph Cuervo Queen. Steph Cuervo Queen. Good to see you this morning, too. And all I was going to say about the whole reason I brought up the pub is that I dovetailed off of seeing Rainey sleeping last night. Rainey hasn't really had much alcohol to drink in 11 years. Since she got pregnant with Flynn, which is nearly 12 years ago, she hasn't had any alcohol. And only on rarest of occasions, maybe you could count on one hand the number of times she either had a glass of wine or a cider beer, something like that. And so she went out the night before and she had a frou-frou drink. What I call frou-frou drink. It's like, I don't know. I don't even know what it was called. Whipped cream amaretto, nut job, apple cider mocha surprise drink. She had one of those on Friday night, and she said she drank about half of it, and it wasn't sitting well with her. And then last night, I got there at around. This is how late she had to work last night with the massages. I got to the hotel around 9 o'clock, and I went into the pub, and I'm listening, and I see my friend's band playing there, and so I sat there until about 9:45 before Rainey and Kendra showed up, post massage, post cleanup, post packing up all their gear, and so I had a nice Smithwick's ahead of time, and then another one, and after they got there. But Rainey said, "I'm going to try." Her partner in crime ordered one of those amaretto whipped cream drinks, and then Rainey said, "I think I'm going to have a shot of Jägermeister." And I'm like, "Oh, really?" I haven't had a shot of Jägermeister in about 25 years. And so she got it, and she holds it up, and she sniffs it, and to get the aroma, and I said, "So what's that smell like?" And she said, "Smells like my 20s." And so she had that. Now, she only had one shot of Yag last night, but she's still sleeping upstairs. So when your body has really taken on the status of lightweight when it comes to alcohol consumption, it can maybe make her sleep in a little bit more. And so, even I felt like, because I don't drink that much anymore, I had 2 big pint glasses of dark stout beer last night. And we got home. I sat down on the sofa at about 11:30, quarter to 12. We got home. I sat down on the sofa, and I woke up in the same position at about 7 o'clock this morning. So I haven't showered. I haven't even changed my clothes from last night. So I just woke up and whoa, I'm awake, and made some coffee. So there you go. So that's what we got this morning. Maya, good to see you this morning. And who else we got here? Scott Lowry, good to see you as well, brother. And I'm just going to scroll through. I just like saying good morning to you because I can. That's the beauty of being live. And by the way, as you can see by my background, we've been switching the office all around because it was just lacking in space and the configuration. It was fine when just my studio was in here, but then when we set up Rainey's desk in her studio, it became half the space. And so my table here, my drafting table, which is what everything is set up on here, was kind of at an angle in the corner, and you could tell by the camera angles. Now, I've just said, screw that. I took it and I just put it up against the wall here, and you're looking straight back at the wall. And I started taking things down off the wall. And if you look here, look at all the nail holes that are just from moving things around. And so I'm just redecorating the office, so to speak, or my studio, my background for radio. So that's why it looks slightly different this morning. And I've been drinking over 40 years then. Yes, I have, field guy. I had my first drink. Let me put it to you this way. When I was in Bible college and seminary and all of that, ministry bound, we were in a denomination that believed that alcohol consumption was a sin. This is not something you do. And you don't smoke, drink, dance, or chew, or hang around with those who do. It was kind of one of the tongue-in-cheek things we had going on. Of course, we all had premarital sex, and we all did all those things, and you covered it up. Sometimes, though, you were pretty much a purist. I cannot touch you. We are not married. I mean, that's the way it was, and maybe the way it should be. But without casting judgment on any of that, I will say that I didn't have my first drink of alcohol until I was 23 years old. And it was my ex-wife who introduced me to it. And I had done my little stint in the Marine Corps and broke a bone in my back, as many of you know that story. And so I was, my 6-year stint as an officer in the Marines was truncated, very short. And I came home and I was functional, but still had that break, and I still have the break in my back. And so I was taken out for drinks, and I said, I really have never had a drink before, and I don't drink alcohol. And so I drank, I think it was a Screwdriver, orange juice and vodka. The very first drink I had, they said, you do it this way, because if you just go straight vodka, you're probably going to throw up. And so they gave me something that was sweet and tasted sweet. And that's how, it's not like, I always said, rather comedically, if I have to acquire a taste for something, why do I want to do it? It's like, it's going to be disgusting, but just keep doing it and you'll acquire a taste. It's like, what for? Just so I can say I drink alcohol? And so it wasn't a big thing for me. So then I became a notorious drinker for a while there. A lot of scotch. If you could see the other side over there against that wall, I got all my bottles of scotch and things lined up. Kevin Olson, who's in the chat room, you've been here. You've seen The Office. And so that whole, I don't know if you got a picture of that in your head, but that whole stand over there, the whole top is full of scotch bottles. And I never smoked weed until, Scott Lowry, I think the first time I smoked weed was with my cousin. It had to be back in the late 80s, mid to late 1980s. And I've really only smoked it not very often, 10 to a dozen times in my life. So, why'd you spit out your coffee, field guy? What did Steph say to you? Well, Catholic girls were told backdoor sex didn't count as real sex, so it wasn't a sin. Isn't there something in Mormonism that has that as well, that if you did sex, premarital sex a certain way, it was allowed? And it's funny, that whole thing, this is some of the stuff that comes up as I have questioned religion and denominational religion and what we hold to as religious mandates and things like that. I have questioned a lot of those things, sexual things included, mandates about drinking, mandates about dancing, about watching. I understand where all these things come from. They come from a place of saying, keep your mind pure, keep yourself sober, not talking about alcoholically sober, just talking about be sober-minded, think, use your head. Don't, what did the Apostle Paul wrote when he was writing about drinking too much? He said his whole philosophy was based on all things are lawful for me to do. I'm just not going to be brought under by the power of anything. That was his philosophy. And that was really the philosophy I took on. And it's why I don't like being drunk. I don't like being out of control of my faculties. And so for me, drinking too much, drinking is okay. You drink in moderation. But you can have a glass of wine and it can affect you a little bit. But I don't think that's a big problem. I think the big problem is when you drink to excess. Because now this is my opinion, and my opinion is I would rather not have anything take control of me. I want to be in control of my decisions that I make. I don't want my inhibitions so lowered that I make bad decisions. And I will ask you this, and you think about this in your own experience. Now, maybe this is just my experience. When your inhibitions are lowered, everything's lowered. That inhibition process is lowered. And that's why it was so easy. Sexual activity is a whole lot of, do you ever wake up in the morning? Have you ever in your past? And I'm not asking for a show of hands. I'm just saying, think about it. Have you ever woken up in the morning and you see that person sleeping next to you and you go, oh, I can't believe what I just did last night. And that's because your inhibitions are gone. Or even driving drunk. That is a thing that happens because inhibitions are gone. And the defense or the prosecutorial aspect of that is that you have common sense to not drink too much. And if you drank too much and you drove and you got in trouble drunk driving, it's your responsibility. And so you go out and you don't drink too much. You get a designated driver. So there you go. That's why I don't do a lot of, I don't smoke weed all that much. I don't like losing touch with my faculties. Now, sometimes in a controlled setting, it's kind of nice. If you know you got people there and you're all sitting around, like Poems, Prayers, and Promises, that old John Denver song, we talk of poems, prayers, and promises and things that we believe in. How good it is to love someone, how right it is to care, how long it's been since yesterday, and what about tomorrow? And what about our dreams and all the memories we share? Oh, and in that song talks about sitting past the pipe around. Those are nice settings sometimes. Maybe we look at that as being the more hippie, out there rebel type of thing, smoking pot around the fire, passing the pipe. But then you've got the more civilized version of that. It's you sit in the library with the fire going in the high-backed wing chairs, and you drink bourbon or scotch together, or whatever it might be. Your drink absinthe, a fashionable drink, said Martha Stewart once. And I've had absinthe. It's pretty good if you like black licorice, which I don't. But there you go. Hey, Roger Rabbit. Good to see you. Welcome this morning. Hey, Paul from Newcastle. Good to see you. That makes me think last night at the Irish pub. I said, I don't feel like a Guinness tonight, not because I don't want one and crave one fortnightly. It's that I didn't feel like drinking the heaviness of a Guinness. Drinking a pint of Guinness is like drinking a loaf of bread. And that heaviness you can get off of it. And so I wanted something lighter, and my go-to is Newcastle Brown Ale. So, Paul, you just reminded me of that. And so Newcastle Brown Ale is good stuff. I like it. And if I can't get any of those, I go for Fat Tire, which you can't hardly ever find anywhere. Well, it's popular enough. You just never find it where I want to be. So, but I'm going to tell you this. Last night, being at the Irish pub, and it's not overly Irish. There's no Irish running it, and it's all, it brought back those memories. Raini said she sniffed the shot of Jägermeister, and she said, it smells like my 20s. And that's where I say the whole atmosphere there was like my 20s and my 30s and my 40s, frankly, all through my 40s. And I stopped going to the Irish pub with regularity after Rainey and I got married. We moved a little south of town, out of town, across the border into Wisconsin. It was harder to get places. And so I just didn't end up going out every Tuesday night to the Irish pub, which was the equivalent for me living in American society. It would sure be nice. I thought one of these days, I used to think 30 years ago, be awfully nice to, as I start to get a little older, like in my 40s, it would be awfully nice, I said, to own some land, on a little island off the west coast of Scotland, out in the Irish Sea there or something, and the island of Arran, Aran, or Skye, or some of those places. I thought that'd be awfully nice to have a place like that, and to, raise horses and sheep, and, go down to the local pub every night, and get to know people and know the towns. A small village type of feel. And I always thought that would be wonderful. I would love to do something. I still would love to do something like that. I love that air of the gathering of friends. And So that's what it made me feel last night. Although the only friends I really had there were members of the band, and my wife and her partner came in. Her massage partner came in around after I got there, and so other than that, but listening to the music and drinking a pint of something dark and stout, that was wonderful, and it revived kind of a memory in me of one of the other things. I have this whole list of things I've wanted to do with my life. Some of them I've accomplished, some of them I haven't. One of the other avocations I would love to have pursued was being a barman. I wanted to own, I still do, and there's nothing saying I can't do it. Would love to own an Irish pub. Put up an Irish or a Celtic pub, a proper pub. And I said to Rainey last night, I said, that this all makes me think of that again. I'd be the guy dressed in the tweed vest, with the tie and the nice white shirt or striped shirt, whichever it is, and the tweed vest is an essential, and well groomed, and the pub would be a right proper Irish pub, and so there'd be no tomfoolery in there, and so I've thought about that, and Sean Bowden says, I haven't been in a bar in probably over 3 years, being a single father. That makes that kind of impossible. I'll tell you this, Sean, I have been less likely to go out to the pub, and I haven't as much over the last 10 years because I'm married and I have kids at home. But when I was a single dad, and Sean, you can relate to this, and as all of you know, I had been given custody of my children, granted by the court. You could say I won custody. I don't like to look at it as winning and losing, but maybe in that case, my kids were the ones who won. But I was, I think, a very good dad. I was home. I worked at home doing the same stuff I do now. I wasn't doing radio back then. Even though I had started doing radio in 2000, I got my kids in 2001, late 2001. And I remember at the time I got a phone call from the guardian ad litem in custody cases. And she said, you're going to be getting something in the mail. She said, I just wanted to let you know the judge has heard our case, and you're going to be granted sole custody of your kids. And I opened that, or I got that phone call, and I got off, and I was just in tears of joy. And the woman I was dating at the time kind of slumped back, and she said, oh, well, I thought you were going to get like joint custody. And I was all supportive of that. And she's like, sole custody means they'll be with you all the time. She said, I don't know if I like that. And I'm like, you're going to have to like that. And we did not last much longer after that. And we'd been together for a couple of years at that point. And and by the way, unless you're doing the math, I was accused by my ex-wife of adultery and getting involved with this woman, and that's what broke up our marriage. And I said, well, no, I didn't meet that woman for 9 months after the separation had started, and we were already well under our way. For those of you counting and doing the math and wondering about that. So it might have been the year after that, because we'd been together for at least 2 years, I think, at that point, when I finally got custody of my kids. And so anyway, Sean, what I'm saying is this. I had my kids, and I was there all the time for them. And they were usually gone every other weekend at their mom's. And but what I did was I had my Tuesday night at the pub. I didn't, and I was going to the Irish pub all through the temporary phase of the custody battle, in which the kids did not live with me full time. And so all I did, and maybe this will be helpful. Maybe you and I should talk. Maybe you don't need this, and I'm not being. I don't want to be, like, hey, I know more than you do, Sean. That's not what I'm saying at all. If you ever want to talk about this stuff, we should do it. But I just devised ways to be able to do things. And Tuesday nights, I always had somebody that would come over and watch the kids for me on Tuesday night. And I'd go out to the pub. And that was once a week. And then I started, that's when I had devised that whole scotch and cookies on Thursday nights. So I thought, if I can't make it out to the Irish pub every Tuesday, I'm going to bring the Irish pub home. And that's why I started that. And so my kids got to mingle with all these friends of mine from the festival, my friends in the Irish bands, and all that would all come and they'd all bring their instruments. And it would be, roughly from anywhere from 7 to 2 in the morning every Thursday night at my house. And we'd have, at the beginning, just a handful. And we'd have 20, 25 people in the house every Thursday night. And everybody just took their places when they came in. And so we had a good time with it. And so, Brother Sean, I'm only saying that to say, oh, you live in a small town with one bar. A little boring. I hear you. Well, I used to drive from the west side of Minneapolis all the way over to, and those of you from Minnesota will understand the setting. Not many of you here from Minnesota, but I would drive all the way over to, take me 25 minutes to get there in city traffic, over to St. Paul. To there were two places we always went, either the Dubliner or the Halftime Wreck, which was, believe it or not, an Irish pub called the Halftime Wreck. And what's funny about that, by the way, if you've ever seen and I think I've mentioned this before, the movie Grumpy Old Men that came out, 20 years ago now, 15 years ago, with Jack Lemmon and the original Odd Couple. And I can't remember Jack Lemmon and Klugman. Is that his name? Anyway, no, Walter Matthau. And there you go. Thanks, Maya. The little bar that they went to in the movie Grumpy Old Men, that was filmed at the Halftime Wreck in St. Paul. So if you've never been there, you've seen it before if you've seen that movie. And it was an Irish pub, but I don't think it was an Irish pub in the movie. So anyway, yeah, awesome movie. Hey, Teresa, how you doing? Haven't seen you for a while. Good to see you. I know you're busy and you got other stuff going. Please, in the channel, plug your show a little bit that you're involved with, so people know where to find you and find your stuff. So anyway, all of this all has a thread of consciousness going through here. I was talking about Sean and having our kids. So I'd always arrange something so I could go out to the Irish pub. And it was rare that I couldn't get out on Tuesdays. And the way I always saw it, even when I was married and we were jointly parenting, you have to get out. You have to do some things. That means you got to get a sitter. And so I did that. And then, of course, we started scotch and cookies in the house. I remember there was a time where I had an opportunity to go to England. And I've talked about this trip before. I had been to England and Scotland and Wales before, and I had some buddies of mine that wanted to go. And matter of fact, if you are on my Facebook page, if you want to see any of those images from that trip, you can just go over to my photos, my albums, and you can find England. I think it's entitled England 2005. Anyway, back in 2005, now I'd had my kids for about 3 years, and my two buddies wanted to go to England. Let's go rent a car and go pub and castle hopping for 2 weeks. And I said, man, I got my kids. I don't know if I can do a trip like that. So I tried to arrange with their mom, and it was over, was it spring break? It was March. So I think we arranged it when it was going to fit over spring break for my kids. And I said to my wife, if you want to take the kids for spring break, now's your chance to take them for, a whole week and a half, and I can arrange other things because I'm going to England. And she was like, I'm not going to do anything to facilitate your pleasure. And so she didn't do anything. And I remember I made up on the computer, I made up a calendar then of, okay, then here's how it's going to work. You're going to have the kids on your weekend then, and no extra days. And Sean and anybody else listening who's been in this situation, I talked to several friends of mine. One of them is my good friend Dave Potter. Dave was going to come and stay at the house and take care of the kids, but there were certain days he couldn't. And so I lined up other people to be there. There were times he couldn't be there to make sure he was there when they got home off the bus from school. So I arranged people to be at the house. And I had 3 or 4 very good friends that all pitched in on this so I could go to England. And we made up a calendar, and everybody committed to that calendar. I had times of day when people would show up, times when there would be a changing of the guard. Linda would come and be at the house from 3 o'clock until 7, and then Dave would get there, and she would feed them dinner, whatever, and then Dave would come, and he'd be there for the night and get them off to school in the morning. And we had that kind of stuff. And the thing is, I was meticulous about it. I mapped it all out, and I had a calendar, a grid calendar with all the times and everybody was going to be where, and then backups in case there was a problem. And I handed that to my ex-wife, and she threw it out her car window as she pulled out of the driveway. And that's the kind of person she was. That's why I'm very happy now that my youngest son from that marriage, Sam, when he turned 18, almost 2 years ago now, that was done. Never had to deal with the witch again. And I don't mean to offend witches by saying that. So Sean, I'm just saying, in my experience, those are the things I did to try to facilitate being able to do some things, and at the same time, take care of the home front. My kids were very happy I could go to England, but now my son has never traveled with me, Sam, but my daughters came to Egypt with me a few years later. Well, now that was 2005 when we went to England. My daughters came in 2014, so that was 9 years later. They traveled to Egypt with me for 2 weeks, and just anecdotally, so it was always nice to travel with them. Corin, are you asking me, do I ever miss her? Do I still love her? Is that question meant for me, or are you asking somebody else? Electra said, are all churches physically closed? Only Zoom church? I don't know, Electra. I think some states allow it. Yeah, Corin, you're asking me that question? I'll honestly answer that. I got no problem. I'm an open book about that stuff. Sometimes I miss her. Sometimes I think I do still love her. Do I care about her? No. I have no like for the woman. But of course, you know what those kinds of feelings are going on are ancient memories now. I miss the relationship we had when it was early. I can tell you a wonderful story. I don't think I've ever told this before. But then I stop and think when I'm done telling the story, but that's the ex-wife. That's the one who created so much havoc for my children and I. The one who I think has got some major issues going on. But here, I'll tell you this. On our wedding night, when I married my ex-wife, now this would be December 1st of 1989 was when we were married. And we were moving to Detroit. I had already moved to Detroit 2 months earlier and took a position as a creative director in an ad agency. And I got home a couple of times in there, and I flew her out once or twice. And but we were getting married December 1st, and then we were going to, on December 2nd, drive the truck with all our goods down to our new place in Detroit. And so here's a little story for you. And Corin, this is tying into the question you just asked. You think of these memories and you say, and think of the question you asked me. And so there we are. It's end of the wedding night. We had both been married before, but we still had a good church wedding. We had about, God, I have to think, about 200 people showed up for the wedding. This was at a time when I was doing youth work at the church, and I was seminary, and I was well known in the church. And so we had this church wedding. And by the way, my ex-wife's family still went to that church. They helped found that church. And so I had that little handicap in there, and that my former father-in-law was one of the elders at the church, and My former mother-in-law worked at the church, and everybody knew them. They were very well known, very popular in the church, in that positive sense of the word, popular. And so there were some people who were very offended that I would have been divorced and then moved on. Now, mind you, I did not precipitate that divorce. I sought everything I could for that divorce to not happen. It was right after my seminary years. And so that happened. And so there was all that to deal with, but we got married, my new wife and I. And if you're doing the math, and I've said this before, Raini and I, this is my third marriage. And I was married to Suzanne very early on. I was 21. We were married for 6 years, broke up, no kids. I didn't want the divorce. She did at the time. And divorce, it was over in 5 weeks, even though I contested it. I didn't contest it in court. I just wasn't going to sign it. I didn't believe from a religious point of view that I should. And my pastor said, if she signs it, she signs it. He says, you don't have to sign it if you don't want to. It's up to you. And so it was signed and done in 5 weeks. And I never saw her again for 19 years. This is the ex-wife I told you about who called me out of the blue and wanted to talk and apologized for, as she put it, all the shit she put me through and blah, blah, blah. So push that all aside. So now I was remarried in 89, and it wasn't very long afterwards. I mean, my ex-wife and I, Suzanne, we were divorced in July of 88. And in January of 89, I met Annette. And by December 1st of 89, we were getting married. And so we were married for 12 years, and we had our 3 kids, my twin daughters and my oldest son. And but I will say this is the story I'm getting at, which again gets to what you asked me, Corin. So I wedding night, smaller wedding, even though we had 200 people there, but we conducted it in a smaller fashion. It wasn't all the big, huge reception. We had a reception in the reception room at the church and stuff like that. But at the end, here is my new wife. I'm in a tuxedo, and it was a black tux and it had this kind of gold paisley kind of shimmery vest and tie, and so it was a good look. She had this ivory T-length dress. And so there we are. Everybody's gone, and we're the last ones there, and we're vacuuming the reception room. The blue room, it was called, and for blue carpet in there. And it was the library, and it was a reception room and all those things. And so we're there at like midnight vacuuming, still dressed in our finery, vacuuming the room. And we left, and we locked up the church. And we had already loaded up the van the day before, the moving van. And the next morning, we were gonna stay in a hotel that night, and the next morning take off for Detroit to make the official move. And so now it's about 1 a.m, and we're starving. We didn't have a big meal at the reception. We didn't want to put out that kind of money for it. So we had cake and, finger food and all that stuff. But we ended up going to, those of you local, we went to the Perkins restaurant here. I don't know if you have Perkins all over the country where you are. You see them every now and then when you travel. Kind of a Denny's type of a, late night. Well, it's not late night. I always now associate it with the bar crowd. At 1 a.m. or 2 a.m., these restaurants fill up. And so we went to Perkins. Hey, Carly. Good old Perkins. That's right. So we went to Perkins, and it was packed. I mean, this was back when the law said the bars had to close at 1 a.m. So it's packed with the bar crowd. And I'm in my tuxedo, and she's in her wedding dress. and we're sat down and we're drinking and we're mellow and you're so in love. It's wedding day and so we're looking at each other, just kind of sitting at the table and having a cup of coffee, and all of a sudden, the whole restaurant, you start hearing this. It doesn't ding right on this cup because I'm using a pencil. But the tradition at a reception, you do that and the bride and groom have to kiss. The whole restaurant, it was packed out. And the whole restaurant starts doing that. And so we stood up and toasted each other like that with our cups of coffee. Thank you. And we gave each other a kiss and everybody gave us a big round of ovation. And so that, Corin, the long way to get around to answering your question. Those are memories you look back at and you say, yeah, I love that person. I always did. That never went away. But that doesn't mean that will change where I am now. She could not change my love for my wife now, for Raini. She could not change my life in that respect because of that. It's something where you said, yeah, I loved you once. You did everything in your power to destroy that. And there are many aspects of that love and care for you that were destroyed. But I still love you in my heart. And that'll always be there. Do I miss her? Yeah, I miss her. I miss the things we did. But you know what? We were divorced in 2001. So you're looking at 19 years ago. And it was actually February of 2001. So we're pushing 20-year mark. And so the closeness, the togetherness, and all of that, gone. And I'll say, I've told that story before. My son, Sam, he was born in January of 2001. So we had been separated. We got separated in, what was it? It would have been 99, I think. A fall of 99, and we were separated. And so there was one point I went out to the ranch to pick up some things, and my ex-wife shows up in the room where I am, drops all her clothes, stark naked. And she goes, we can do this one more time before we're divorced, can't we? And of course, I'm like, yeah. So, there's memories you have of things, but things will never operate that way again. But by the way, the product of that little, we can do this one more time, right, was my son, Sam, who was born into the divorce. And in January of 2001. So, yeah, crazy people never regret anything. Yeah, that's right, field guy. I have some regrets in life. I regret overall that I was not that thing I said I wanted to be. When I started to think of your life, think of what you have done in your life and the things that you dreamt about and idealized as being the places you wanted to be and where you wanted to go, what you wanted to do, what you wanted to become. And then if you're old enough, look back 20 years and go, where am I now compared to all of that? Are there regrets? Yeah, there's some regrets along the way. Should have turned left when I turned right, that kind of thing. But you make do with what you have, and you keep going, you keep doing your thing, and it becomes the new thing. So I think that there's a regret that my first wife, Suzanne, and I never were managed to stay together and work it out. Of course, she is a lesbian now, so she's married to a woman for the last 12 years, 13 years, something like that. And she said that was part of the problem she had brought to the table. Remember when I said she called me 19 years after the fact? She said that was one of the things that she'd been struggling with for years. And so there you go. So you look back and you say, ideally, if I had been able to do it, but then if ideally I had done that, she was never able to have children. She's never had children. So I may never have had children of my own. But that's in retrospect, being able to look back and see the picture clearly. We didn't know that at the time. But I would not have the 6 children I have. My offspring had that worked out with my first wife, and we stayed in it and made that happen. And the ideal changed as we went along the way. And so there you go. When you think about that, I wouldn't have had my 3 children with Annette. I wouldn't have had my 3 children with Raini. I wouldn't know Raini right now. If I knew her, it would be peripherally. So, what did Jeff Goldblum say in Jurassic Park? Life finds a way. And so, yeah, things happen the way they're supposed to happen. Life unfolded the way it was supposed to unfold. So there you go. So I hope that answered your question, Corin. Yeah, I still love her. I still have a love in my heart for her. That's what it has become. I'm not in love with that person. I think it would take very little for her over the years to have made that love spark up again, or at least a deeper friendship to have happened, but she resisted that. There were times, I remember when my ex-wife, and I'm talking about not my first wife, that was short, sweet, and done, but the mother of my older 3 children. I did everything in my power to constantly present her with an olive branch, to say, look, even if we never fix our marriage, I want you to know that you are the mother of my children, and I love you because of that. And she would do things like she would come to town to pick up the kids for the weekend. And sometimes she would stay at my house overnight. She would go sleep with the girls in their room or down in the kids' room. And that was fine with me. And I'd get up, you know what I did in the morning? The same thing I always do. I got up and I made her coffee. Did that all through our marriage. So I'd make her coffee when she stayed over. I'd say, hey, I got coffee for you going. Here's a cup. And we'd sit and talk a little bit and stuff like that. So there was always that me looking for ways to always let there be peace together. But seeking peace does not mean you sometimes have to be a person of war or battle. I had to do battle with her too. I had to take strong stands with her. And there were many times she would come back, and I think I told this story briefly. I'll just hit on it very briefly. And the only reason I'm telling this story is not just to have Scotty story time. It's to hopefully pass some principles on, or have you look at your own things and ask yourself how things go. But here, Raini and I were married October 27th of 2007, so 13 years ago. And about 2 weeks, not even, after we were married, Annette, my older kid's mother, my ex-wife, she called on the phone as she normally did, 5 to 6 a.m. And I was praying and I asked, and God told me to turn over a new leaf with you. And I'm wondering if you've ever thought about reconciliation. There was that word, reconciliation. Have you ever thought about reconciling? And I think it was somewhere in that same place where she asked me, now don't get offended at this, somewhere in that same time period, she was asking me, would you ever want to try anal sex? I mean, like, we're not married and I'm with somebody. This is the kind of way she thought. She went from, she was Annette dark and light. She was either on the top or she was at the bottom, emotionally. And very rarely the gray points in between. This was the bipolar part of her. And so when she asked me, do you want to reconcile? I knew exactly what she was talking about. And I said, well, and she didn't know that Raini and I had gotten married. She was out of my life. I didn't care to share my information with her. And it wasn't pertinent at that point. And there was a reason I wasn't telling her. I was going to wait for the moment when it was really good to reveal that. Oh, Raini and I are married, by the way. Part of it was Raini and I were living together before that, and she was trying to make a big legal case out of my having. She was going to try to get the court to deny me the right to allow Rainey to live in my house or me to live in her house with our kids, whichever way it worked to live together. And I said, that's not your business anymore. I have custody of the kids. But she tried to make a legal stink. So Rainey and I just said, hey, we'll do this now. And we got married. And so I said, there's all kinds of forms of reconciliation. I said, you and I being friends and working for the good of our children, that is reconciliation. We don't have to get remarried, I said, to be reconciled. And that whole new leaf lasted about 2 days. And when she found out we were married and all of that, she was like, she turned all the way back to the other way. So, and I saw that 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock thing going on with her all the time. Yeah, bipolarism sucks. It's life sucks. It's awesome. This is Maya. And okay, Teresa, when you be right back, we'll still be here. At least for a little bit. It's almost 10 o'clock. Corin says, I think trauma and putting people on meds they don't need to be on is a great recipe for bipolarism. Dude, my ex-wife was bipolar, but she was also an alcoholic. They had her on Paxil for depression, and she was abusing alcohol at the same time. You talk about uppers and downers in your system all day long, and you got to mix. Hey, it's 10 o'clock. Let's take a quick break. I'm going to go get some warm coffee. You guys talk amongst yourselves for a couple of minutes. We can talk with my daughter, who's sitting right here. So, bro, you want to come over and say hi? You can. Keep them entertained for a minute.
My dad's crazy.
You keeping them entertained?
No, I just told them you were crazy.
Oh, what makes me crazy?
Everything.
Oh, I see. All right. I'm back. Tip that back up now that I'm sitting back in the chair and I'm a little taller than my daughter. I got some warm coffee. By the way, you can get your Intrepid magazine mug or Intrepid radio mug.
No, they can't.
You can get it over at my Etsy channel. It's etsy.com/shop/son-of-a-patriot. So go on over and get your own. Let's see. Carly says she's a doll and hilarious too. There you go. That's what they say about you. I saw your puppy last night. You know what your puppy looked like when we got home?
My pig.
A butt. Her pig.
I'll go get
Oh, that's
pig.
a puppy. There you go.
That was a pig.
All right. That was a puppy. The other one's a pig. We'll compare them and you can get you can see what you think. Carly says, I got hooked on and prefer iced coffee. I like iced coffee. Sometimes if I don't feel like having a hot cup of coffee, I'll get a nice iced coffee. Pretty good stuff. So she didn't entertain you, but we did have our APR coffee. All right. Yeah, it's an awesome drawing. Your pig is hanging on the fridge. So, oh yeah, this one looks like a puppy. There you go. There's the puppy. You got to see the pig. Here we go. Let's do them side by side. All right, here we go. You ready? There's the pig, puppy, and pig. Now you can see the pig. He's got the flat nose with the two nostrils. So there's the pig. There you go. Pig, puppy. There you are. Thank you. So there you have it. Oh, look what I found. I was going through boxes of some stuff when I was cleaning out behind my desk here. I had a whole stack of boxes up back here, which I've now taken care of. But in one of the boxes, I started going through and feng shuiing my boxes of books because I have, 50 boxes of books that just don't even fit on shelves anymore. So I started going through and I found this old newspaper thing, the Review Perspective. It's serving North St. Paul. This isn't the St. Paul newspaper. It's just one of the little local rags. And this is dated Monday, October 20th of 2008. So this was when Raini and I were married for a year. But this cover story here, if you unfold this, and this was stuffed in a box, so it's all, that's the picture. And it's too bad the fold is right there on top of us all. Let's see if I can fix this. And there's rips in it even. So I got to do something to preserve this a little better just to have it. But there it is. There you see, what does it say? A haunting experience. A Minnesota group pitches a show to the major networks. This is when we were pitching our ghost hunting show. And here you see Raini right there. And it's too bad the rip is right across her face. There's me. And there's our friend Lisa Lilly. You can find her on my friends page. And Warren. Warren and I, we haven't talked for a long time. But that was our little group. And we made the front page of a little tiny local rag. North St. Paul shopper type of a rag. But they gave it a color image. And so I found that. So I'm going to take that and see if I can't frame that or get it to at least maybe mount it so it doesn't get any more destroyed than it is. But I thought that was kind of neat. I just happened to mention that just now because I see it just sitting right here. So I want to try to protect that as much as I can now that it's been ripped up in a box of books for 10 years. So, closer to the camera, please. Let's see. Are you looking at it on a computer or a phone? Steph, here you go. This is the image they had put together. See if I can get that closer to the camera. Here, I got to move my mic out of the way. There you go. So, the way the light hits the fold and all of that stuff. And there you can see the tears in it. But you see me over there on the, it would be the left, the way you're looking at it. And then Raini down in front of me and Lisa and Warren. And so that was our little group. And we were doing the TV show. And so promoting that TV show back then. Dead Reckoning, it was called. And we revamped that the next year and represented it. And that never got picked up either. So as good as it was. So get a clean copy and make a poster. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, there's a thing I could probably write and see if they're still in existence. Little local rag and see if I can get an actual copy of that paper. That'd be kind of nice. I should do that. So, Riders in the Sky. Yeah, right. And there you are, Matt. Let's see. I want to see if I'm missing anything from anybody. Let's see. Nice graphic. Who's that sick, Scotty? Whoa. I'm not sure what you're talking about there, Carly. What did I miss? Or were you asking about the pictures on the paper? Yeah. So, yeah, you can see how little Raini has changed over the years. See, so there's Raini again. Let's see. I'm trying to do this without the light obliterating it. And there's Raini and Lisa. And there's half of my face back there. So, yeah, there it is. So what's changed with Raini is makeup style and hair. Other than that, she looks just the same. So, ages like fine wine. That's it. So why don't we do this now? It's after 10. Let's do some readings. Before we do, because I've got them sitting here. I've done this a little bit before. I've got my my rods. Now these are here. I'm gonna move this so I can stand back here. move this chair out of the way. And I thought it would be interesting to see. I had these hanging on the wall back here. They were mounted up here. This is that set of divining rods that John Ward had made for me in Egypt. And you can see here they're cast iron. And I think they're iron. No, they're probably steel. They're not heavy enough to be iron. Shows you what I know about my metals. But there it is. And that's the set that he had made for me in Egypt. It is just like his set. And it's different in that, you know, Raini has a set. Hold on. That, she's got a set like this. And it's got the wooden blocks, the dowels on it that are hollowed out with the stop that keeps it from coming off. And so you hold the dowel tight and then the rod can swing around the way it's supposed to. I've seen those. Now, John, who is an expert dowser, he uses these and he says, it's not that you have the handles that work for you. He says it's that you have to hold them the right way to have them do something. And so if I were to take these rods right now, and I haven't touched these in a while, and I learned this from John, he would say, all right, boys, let's go here. I'm going to, just get my energy on them. And I'm going to ask a question and see if I'm going to do this. If they cross, that's a yes. If they part, that's a no. And so I'm going to ask this. I'm going to say, all right, can I ask you some questions today? See, now look at that. Yes. So who am I asking is the big question when I do that. And so it's all balanced. It's all the way. See, now if I just hold them, they're not doing anything. If I say, can I ask you some questions today? See, now they're already starting to cross a little bit here. I'll start over. Do you mind if I ask questions today? There, see, it crosses. Yes. Okay. And so if I say, throw me out a good question, a good yes/no question over there in the chat room. And let's see if we can get some responses on these today. I would say this. I would say, here's a very simple, non-invasive type of thing. I'm going to ask, okay, Raini's desk is in this office. Can you point to it? Now, I've got only one of them pointing. Let me try that again. I want to see if both will point. Can you point both of these rods over to where Raini sits? Oh, see now that it caught on my hand, but both of the rods, I feel them, both of them are pointing that way. Now, Raini's desk is right over there. Now, this is my closet door. I would ask, can you point to my closet door? Let's try that again. I'm holding them wrong. Can you point to my closet door? See, I got one of them pointing right there. So that's what these do. Now, I don't have the little dowel on them, so they're not as free, and they get caught on the folds in my hand sometime. So I have to hold them usually a little lower and have them do that kind of thing. So let's see. Do we have anybody in there that wanted to ask a question? Steph says she loves using the divining rods. So Carly, you're saying, whoa, is that to the political discussion or to the rods? I don't know. So yeah, it is cool. They are cool. John had used these. Some archaeologists had come to him and asked him in Egypt if he could map out what they thought was an underground, not an underground city, like the lost forbidden city or anything like that, but ruins that were under the ground. And he could walk, and when he would get close to, let's say, here, I'm going to put this cord here. There's a wall here now. I'm making that a wall, guys. Now, if I walk toward the wall, part when I hit the wall. Oh, look at that. See? You know, it parted right in front of my desk. And then, so he would do that. And he would find walls, and then he would find corners. And then he'd go around the corner, and he'd follow, and he'd trace the walls out. And he'd mapped out a whole underground complex that had been buried. And so that's what these things are good for. Let's see. I'm seeing if there's anybody. Steph, you got a question? Or was that just a, yeah, you do like the rods. So yeah, you can find water with them, which is very interesting. So Steph, what's your question? Go ahead and ask, and let's see what they do. Kind of try to keep to a kind of a yes, no, because we've used these before, and I was asking questions at a haunted location, and John said this is extraordinary because I would ask, and then he would repeat the question, and then the rods were answering, and we could sometimes carry on over and over and over again, questions and stuff. Something, Carly, kind of yes, no-ish. How do they work? It's energy. I don't understand how it works. It's energy. I suppose it's like anything else. Is it like tarot? Is it like Ouija? Is it like those kinds? I don't know what it is. Because John, in order to demonstrate how they worked for me the first time back in like 2013, we were out in front of his house on the dirt road, and he drew with his foot or a stick a big building about 20 feet by 20 feet. He drew a diagram in the dirt. He says, now this is our building. He says, let's put a door here and a door over here, and let's put pillars here. And so he drew this in the dirt. Now, the building didn't exist. There was no building there. He just drew it in the dirt. And he started doing his rods. And he would walk toward the building. And guys, let's say my desk is the building. What would happen when he reached the wall? Oh, see, there you go. So I felt it moving, and I moved my hand, which isn't a fair exercise as far as I am concerned. There, okay. See, there's the end of my desk. And so he would find that after just drawing a building in the sand. So you've never seen or heard of them before? It astounded me. There were things that I've lost in the house. I had a bag of sand. Let me show you something, guys, while we're at it here. Hang on, I got to go over here to this cabinet where I've got a lot of stuff in the way of the cabinet door. Makes it hard to get into, which it's meant to do. Hang on, if you can hear me. Still, I'm over here. I'm going to open up this cabinet door. And I want to show you something I got inside here. It is right here. I'll show you a couple of little things. All right. Now, here's a couple of things I'll show you. See this? This baggie, this Ziploc bag of sand. That's what that is. That's just sand. And that is sand I scooped up at John and Maria's site of Gebel El Silsila in Egypt. Their site on the Nile there. And here, let me show you what we got here. All right. So, here. Well, I don't want that falling on my keyboard, but there you go. See? There's your sand and a couple of rocks and stuff. I got a little bit of sand from the Gebel El Silsila all over my desk. So I had this. I collected this all up in probably, 2014 when I was there, or 2015. I don't remember which year it was. It was 2013, 14, or 15. I collected this Ziploc full of sand from Silsila, Egypt. And it went missing. I couldn't find it because I was starting to collect it up, and I have this little replica of a very it's got tape on it, very stylized version of the Ark of the Covenant. Hang on, I can get that off of there later, but it's bugging me because it's reflecting. And so this little Ark of the Covenant. And I picked that up for the purpose of putting some artifacts in there. And I started collecting. I've got stones. These are just stones from temples in Egypt. What have I got in I just noticed I got a big black thing in my fingernail from digging in something. So stones from Egypt, little artifacts and things, little things I picked up along the way when I was there, up on the mountaintops and things like that, and you can't take real artifacts home The only way I could do that was if I accidentally had an artifact in there. I had stuff like that. But I took the sand. Now, this is sand from a different location. And I would put them in these little vials. And so I started filling up these little vials. And I would give these away to friends of mine as special gifts. And we sold a few of these. But this is sand from Senenmut, this guy, from his tomb. I scooped up pockets full of sand, and I put them in these little jars. And these are all I have left are these 4 little jars that I've got inside this little box. But there's a story behind this about the rods that I was giving at. And I was distracted just showing you the stuff here. So that's the little Ark of the Covenant, and I keep all these little things in there. And little stones from Egypt and different little things like this. It's all in there. All right. So there is my my little Ark of the Covenant. Now, there was 2 stories with the rods. Rocky was over at my house with John Ward when he was here back in, this would have been 2014. And John was showing him how the rods worked. And so Rocky's looking at the rods, and I was going to try an experiment, and I didn't tell them I was doing this. I went and got one of those little vials of sand from Senenmut's tomb. And we're out in the garage, and I had shelves in the garage and bookshelves, and I had a Persian rug down there and a couple of easy chairs. It was kind of my office away from the office, the opening of the garage. And so I put that little vial back on a shelf somewhere when I walked back in, and they were still talking. And I'm standing over here, and the vial's way over there, and Rocky's sitting over there. And I said, I got a question. Why don't you ask if there's anything of Senenmut in the room? And the rod, he asked the question, and the rod started to point at that, and then it swung all the way around, and it pointed at me. And so he asked it again, and again, it turned and pointed at me. And that was, it got rather emotional at that point, because I said, I put that little vial of sand there, and that's what I was thinking of, but it kept pointing at me, which led to, this was, a year after I'd had that experience, that vision, and all of that stuff that happened to me. So Corey says he found his keys. Outstanding. See, now I've done that with the rods before. I ask where things are. Like, I can go like this, and I can say, hey, can you point to Ellery? Oh, boom. There she is. It's pointing right at her. And so why didn't they both point? Maybe they tried. Maybe they tried, but I was holding it wrong in my hand. So point to. Let's try that. Thank you very much. Can you point to Ellery for me? Oh, there you go. And there she is right over there. She's naked, or I'd have her come over here. What are you naked for?
I just woke up and naked.
You just woke up and you're naked. Okay.
Which color slime?
So,
Blue or yellow?
Morgan Snow, is your husband with you? Let me
color?
ask. What?
Which color?
Blue. All right, let's try that. Morgan Snow asked, is my husband with me? And there you go, Morgan. Let's try it again. No. Guys, thank you for the answer. I just want to verify the answer. Is Morgan Snow, is her husband with her now? Well, there you go. That's a yes when they cross. And it's definite. It was very strong. So there you go, Morgan. Is your husband with you? According to the rods, yes. Now, is there something about the rods that we can say, can we trust what they give us? Can I say hi to Kins? Hey, Kinsey, how you doing? Good to see you. Glad to have you here. Sorry, I just saw that too, Carly. So, hey, Kinsey, how you doing? Good to see you. I'm glad that you're here with your mom and dad. So, will your health improve? Carly's health. These are always tough questions because you don't know what to expect when you ask them. But I want to ask about Carly's health. Do you see improvements in her health soon? Well, there. Now look at that. You got a very clean and clear. Does Carly have a long time to wait for these answers about her health? It's kind of a Yeah, it might take a little longer than you expect. But we'll ask one more time. Do you see her improving with her health issues? And there you go. They cross right away. So there you go. As much as that's worth. So you're welcome, Carly. Is it truly love that he is suppressing? Is that a question? Scotty, see if my green... What did you do? Didn't you see there was a big bookshelf standing right there in front of the garage door? If you open the door, what's going to happen? You tip over the bookshelf that's got to go out in the garage. Thank you for picking it up. At least it wasn't a heavy one that crushed her skull. All right, where were we? Electra, you were asking something. Scotty, see if my green tourmaline diamond gold necklace is in my house. An ET ring, reward dollars if found. Here, let's see. Let's take those one by one. Is Electra's all right, guys, here's a toughie for you. Is Electra's green tourmaline diamond gold necklace, is that in her house somewhere? Okay, I'm getting a yes. Is her ring, her ET ring, in the house? Yes. You see, both of those came up very strong. They just went bang, and they were a positive. Let me see. I'm going to try it again just to verify. Is the necklace that Electra is looking for, is that lost in her house somewhere? Boom. All right. Here, let's start this way. Let's start with before I even ask the question. Is the necklace in her house? There you go. Is the ring in her house? Boom. There you go. Well, according to this, Electra, they both are in the house somewhere. So, hey, Barry, how you doing? The ET ring is missing. She says, cool. So they're there somewhere. Maybe rattle off a couple of names of rooms and here, how about this? Here, let's try this. Can you tell me what room the missing necklace is in for Electra? It's doing that. It's not a strong yes. Did you see that? Because it's not a specific. How about this? Are they lost in the bedroom? Now, it didn't swing all the way. It just barely crossed. So it's somewhere in there. You might not know. What I was going to say about the sand, I asked it. I walked through the house with these rods, and I said, can you point? Here, let's see if it'll do it right now. Can you point to where the sand is? Here, hold on. I got a bag of sand in here from Gebel El Silsila. Can you point at it? So, yeah, see now it hit that cleft in my hand, but it's sitting right there on my desk. So I did that in the house, and I kept pointing at the bookshelf when I couldn't find the bag. So I went over and I started pulling the books off it, and there it is. It had been put on top of the books, and it had fallen behind the books on the bookshelf. So, and the Sen and Mutsen, the same thing. It kept pointing at me because it was referring to me in the visions.
Are you telling ghost stories?
No, talking about the rods.
I made slime.
I see. She made slime. There you go.
I made one at the birthday party, too.
That's not where all our shampoo is going, is it?
No.
No dish soap?
No.
Okay.
Except
This one
Mom,
exhausted a $25 bottle of shampoo or conditioner on making slime ones, and Mom was not happy.
Mom, let me use like the laundry stuff for the laundry because we don't have any
Okay.
activator and it helps.
Cool.
Activate.
Cool. All right, there you go, Electra. I hope that helps. Let's see what else we got here. Anybody else have any questions? Field guy, is there any silver or gold buried in my front yard? Okay. Field guy would like to know if there's any buried gold or silver or anything like that in the front yard. Oh, started to say no, and then it slipped in my hand. Any gold buried in his front yard? Not doing anything. Hold on. Is there any gold buried? There you go. That's your no. That's what a no looks like, field guy. Ron Frisbee asking, okay, here's a big one. I'm going to ask a couple of questions on this one, Ron. And by the way, Ron, good to see you. The current elections. Was there fraud in this election that prevented President Trump from being reelected?
Yes, there was.
Okay. You got a yes like that. All right. Will Donald Trump actually be reelected after they do all these investigations and stuff? Well, according to this, there's a yes. Now, whoever's answering that question, whatever energy's out there, it's universal energy. It's not just a guy giving his opinion. And so here's the question we have to ask about that. I have a friend of mine, Sarah Soderlund. You know her when I was doing Rocky's show, and she would come on with us, that her prediction was it's going to be a rough road, but by the 14th, which is Friday of this week, we're going to find out some big things, and that Trump will retain the presidency.
Yay!
Now, no. We don't know this for sure, though. That's the thing. There's no certainty in this. Now, could retaining the presidency mean he actually should be the president and will not retain it physically in office? I don't know what that will mean. But everything, all these indicators, these kind of psychic indicators, energy indicators. I'm going to ask it again. Watch these rods now. If you're watching the camera, I could say, will Donald Trump retain the presidency? Hang on. Here's a tough one. Will Donald Trump retain the presidency? Okay, it keeps crossing yes. I'm raising my thumb only because my thumb was blocking it from moving right here. If you can see my thumb, I ended up blocking it accidentally. I got to keep my thumbs down. I'm going to try that one more time, just for clarity. Will Donald Trump retain the presidency of the United States? Well, there you go. It says yes. Now, what do we make of that? We'll know eventually how accurate that is. Let's see. How about this? Did Joe Biden know that there was cheating going on? It's not doing anything. Did Joe Biden, who is, at least by the press, has been declared the next president, did he know of any cheating or fraud? It's not saying no, but it's not saying yes. It's saying basically we've seen that as I'm not going to answer that. Did Joe Biden know? It's not doing anything. So that's interesting. Now, I'm of the theory that there was fraud perpetrated, but it's not something Joe knew about. I think Joe, for all you want to look at him and say he's corrupt for maybe some of the things with China and influence peddling and all of that, I think he has put that in a different category, which people tend to do about justifying their actions. But I tend to think that Joe Biden probably is a fairly decent man. I always believed that of him. So, Carly Sagan wants to know. Is she seeing good doctors right now? Look at that. It's an immediate yes. It says you're seeing good doctors. Now, I will always say, even though, no offense, guys, energy, even though you get positives on this, it doesn't mean that if you feel you need to look into other things that you got to look into it. So that's what these are saying. Here, Doug Stack asks, and I'm going to ask, did Kamala Harris know of improprieties in the election? That went no right away. See that? Saying she didn't know. That's interesting. Steph, I'll ask the question just like you said, if that's meant for this, because I've seen it twice now. Steph asks, is that love that he's suppressing? I don't know who she's talking about. And you can see they're starting to cross. You see that? And there they're crossed. Steph wants to know, is that love that he's suppressing? Yes. I don't know what that means. Maybe you do. You obviously do. The real question is, can they uncover enough evidence for it to be undeniable? Yeah, that's the big question. If it's saying, this energy is saying that Trump will retain the presidency, is that reading it off of me saying I hope he does? Is it reading the universe? So let me ask that. Will there be enough evidence produced to prove that there was fraud in the voting? Well, according to this, yes. Will that evidence be enough to sway the outcome of the election? Now, you see that? Now, it could be the way I'm holding it. They're definitely moving. They moved a lot slower. Will the evidence found be enough to sway? Start that again. Will the evidence be enough to sway the outcome of the election? Well, there you go. That says yes. I certainly hope for the American people that's so. Me too. And now, what I see right now, all this speechifying and all the everybody celebrating and all of this, I hate to see that happening right now. Because what if it does turn? What if the tides do turn in a week? What's that going to do to the American public? Will that demoralize the American public that are all for Biden? You know, there are good people that support Biden. They just have a different political philosophy. What's that going to do if that happens? Here. Will the United States have a civil war? We're already in a civil war, so let me ask that a different way. Will there be unrest if Trump wins the presidency? Well, there you go. So that's interesting. I think these are interesting experiments. I don't want anybody to watch this video and come back and see segments and go, oh, look, he's trying to divine the answer. I'm really not. I'm just asking, I'm showing you how these things work. Now, how do you put your trust in it? I don't know. I think it's another bit of information. Is that the universe telling us something? I know I've seen a whole lot of astrological stuff about these elections that have led up for months and months saying there's going to be great turmoil, but they all keep saying Trump is going to retain the office. And then we see him lose the election. So what's going to happen? It's going to be very interesting. Deep state stuff. Here, let's just ask this. For Audrey, is President Trump a good man? There you go. That's a yes. See? Let's try that again a different way. Is President Donald Trump an honorable man? Here's your yes. Is President Trump, does he have the interests of America at heart? There you go. There's your yes. So, there you go. Here you go. For Electra, did the deep state rig the election? There's your answer. Is Joe Biden, okay, I'm not going to ask you till I bring him up. All right, guys. Is Joe Biden a good man? Okay, I see it's doing this just right at the tip. Let me move my hands a little bit and see if I'm holding them right. Is Joe Biden a good man? Oh, there. See? I think they're all good people at heart. Is there anybody who is truly evil in their heart that runs for office? No, they all have their ideologies and they all differ from each other. That's an interesting question. Scott Allen says, Scotty, can you ask if I'll have some kind of clear answer soon regarding a long-term career option for me? All right, guys. You see Scott Allen in the chat room. Is he going to get an answer anytime soon about a career option? It's not really moving. It's kind of moving together. I'm going to shift a little bit. Scott Allen going to get an answer for a long-term? Yeah, okay, there you go. It's saying yes. And remember, these are different kind of rods. I see other people do this, and they've got the little, as I mentioned earlier, the little dowels that are free. You can grip the dowel as hard as you want, and the rod will move. These are built like this. And so I hold that flat piece in my hand roughly like this. And if I move my hand, or if it slips sometimes like that, or as I did with my thumb and I moved my thumb out of the way, you can do this any way you want. But you find the grip that works the best for you. See, like that, yes. So there you go. And sometimes, is it gravity? Like if I were to tip forward, they'll point straight down. If I were to tip them backward, that's about what they do. They can, and I feel the flat piece hitting the insides of my fingers because it's turning with the gravity. So you hold them as steady as you can. You say, "Are you answering questions for me?" It says yes. There. So, Doug Stack asks, is he going to get a settlement? Is he going to get his settlement before Christmas? It's a slow one. It's gone like that. It's a positive, but it went really slow. Let me ask that again. Is Doug Stack going to get his settlement before Christmas? Well, that's what it's saying. That's a positive. Okay. I'm going to move this mic so it's a bit out of the way. There we go. Will Hillary be prosecuted in court for any crimes? By the way, she was dancing a jig that Biden won. So a little, I don't like her very much. But will Hillary Clinton be prosecuted in the court for anything? Not moving at all. Hold on. Will Hillary Clinton be prosecuted in court for anything? That's pretty much a no or a no answer.
Can you ask if unicorns are real?
Rowan would like to know, are unicorns real? Uh-oh. I'm going to do that again. Are unicorns real? Hang on. It's not doing it. Are unicorns real? I'm not holding these right here. You can't stand right there, baby. Are unicorns real? Well, there you go. That's a no.
God hit me in the head.
Yeah, who's going to hit you too?
Unicorns are real!
Okay. Are unicorns real for Ellery? Yes. For Ellery, they're real. There you go. What's this? Take that out of here, please.
That's Rowan slime.
You're putting that on stuff I don't need to have stuff stacked on.
Ellery, can you bring
Here, why don't you take that?
Do you like
All
my
right,
slime?
I'm going to have a sip of coffee.
Do you like my
This is
slime,
almost
Dada?
funner than Tarot, isn't it?
Do you like my slime? It's Christmas slime.
I love your slime. Let's see it. Christmas slime. It sticks but doesn't stick.
This is
There you
my
go.
slime. It's in a bin.
Yep, it's in
It's
3-part bin.
stretches.
All right. Anybody else have a question there? Let's see. Oh, she stopped when she heard Rowan talk. How about Ellery? Here's Ellery. Ellery's not got any clothes on, so we'll just show top. You have to get clothes on. I think I told you that. So you see how her own personal haircut is growing out? It was this short about 2 weeks ago. So
Slime. Can I get bangs?
maybe we'll talk about it not here.
Slime.
All depends. You can get a haircut. Okay, come on out. Come on out. Got lots of room here now, by the way, now that I cleaned all these boxes of books out of here. And so now I got my room back,
He
my
moved his
space.
desk. He moved his desk.
And I moved my desk. I told them about that. So let's see. Has anybody else got one? Unprompted. That was so cute. Oh, there you go. Right, Carly. Will Rainy grace us with an appearance this morning? Here, hold on. Let me just ask that. Will Rainy make it down here this morning to be on radio? Look what the rods are doing.
Ask if we'll ever
Is Rainy awake right now? Yes. There you go.
Ask if we'll ever
Does
see
Rainy
Ariana
want to come down
Grande.
and be on radio right now? I don't think she does. Yeah, there you go. See?
Daddy,
It's kind of a no.
ask if we'll ever see Ariana Grande.
That's predicting the future. I don't know if I don't like questions that predict the future. Even the questions about the president.
Ask.
Predicting the future, but Rowan would like to know if she'll ever see Ariana Grande in concert. And that says yes. Well, you got a lot of time. So, all right. It's a bit of a selfish question, says Roger, but it's been weighing on me. Will I complete my community golf course project in 2020? All right, we see that question, guys. Will Roger complete his community golf course in 2020? Okay, it's not really doing anything. Hold on. Will Roger complete his community golf course thing in 2020? Roger, I'm not getting a yes. Roger's community golf course in 2020? Well, it's crossing yes now. I'll try one more time, just for confirmation. Roger and his community golf course. Okay, well, now it's going yes. So, there you go. You're welcome. Here, I'll ask a personal question like that. Could I see? What if I wanted to start an Irish pub? Drop everything else I'm doing and do an Irish pub. No, you be quiet. It's not about what you think. Will I ever own an Irish pub? Well, according to this, there's a yes. So, what are you saying no about?
I don't even know what that is.
That's what I mean.
Sounds weird.
Yeah, you got clothes on. Come and say hi to people now that you're dressed.
Ah!
Say hi.
Slime smiley face.
Slime smiley face. There you go.
As soon as she leaves, she's going to get undressed again.
No, you keep your clothes on. All right, everybody out. You too.
What is all the sand on your desk?
I spilled sand on my desk.
Why?
Because I really thought it'd be cool to spill sand on my desk.
Anna!
All right, bye. All right. Let's see. Kinsey said, my question is, will Mama be the best? Let's see. Kinsey's question. Will Mama be the best? Oh, look at that. There was like an immediate yes. One more time. Will Mama be the best? Boom. Instantaneous yes. Look at that. All right. Kinsey said hi to Ellery, who's already way gone from here. So, Morgan has a question. Morgan, what's your question this morning? Did you already ask it? Did I miss it? Morgan, is my hummy upset that Mike comes in the house lately? Okay. All right, guys. Morgan Snow. Is her husband upset that Mike comes in the house? Well, there you go. I don't know what that situation is. There it is. Let's ask it a little different way. Should Mike be coming in the house at Morgan's? Yes. Oh, that was an instant yes. He should be. Is Mike upset about this? Yes. Instant yes. So it's basically saying it's okay for Mike to come in the house, but it's saying that Mike, that your husband is unapproving. What?
I'm going to Addie's.
No. Is she outside? No, you can't until noon. It's Sunday. You got an hour and 15 minutes left. Oh my God, thank you. Says Carly. She goes, look, hey, look. You'll just be the best then. And that's very cute. Very sweet, too. Corey Blake asks, will my pain get better? Yes. Yes. You're welcome, Morgan. I hope that helps. So, any questions I'm missing? If I'm not seeing your question, go ahead and restate it. If you can, put a question for me for the rods in all caps in the chat room. Then I'll see it. It'll stand out for me. And you're welcome, Carly. Roger has a question. I think did we hit your question, Roger, already? I'm looking back too far. Field guy, will the Saints win today? What, are you going to place a bet or something? All right. Will the Saints win their game today? See, that's the kind of answer you get. It's like, I don't think they'll answer when you're like, I got a bet going on this thing. It's like, not going there.
Well, since I listened to Flynn last night, I get to make 2 more slimes.
All right. Teresa asks if her finances will improve. I went right to a yes before I even got the question out of my mouth, Teresa. Now, there's no details given with that, of course. Improvement could be, I don't know, is $10 more a week? Is that an improvement? Yes. Is it the improvement you need? How about this? Will Teresa's finances improve enough that it'll be a positive for her? Well, there you go. It's still moving, but my thumb blocked it over here. So that's where it got to. They actually just passed a law saying it finally passed sports gambling, so I now can. There you go. Let's see. Morgan Snow asked, did I buy a reliable car? It went right. Yes, right away. We're in the fix of that right now, too. We went and looked at another car yesterday. Just didn't feel right. Didn't sound right. Looked pretty. All the stuff was good on it, but see, we don't want to go out and get a mortgage on a car. That increases our insurance because we got to get all special kinds of insurance for it. And it's going to cost us so much more in the long run if we buy a car from a dealer. So we're trying to go just pay cash with what we have available. And we've looked at a few cars and we see we nix them off the list, and I don't know. But according to this, it said, yes, you did, Morgan. I'm so cool, says Corey. Why, thank you, Corey. Let's see. Shady Brady won't beat us tonight, says Field Guy. Is there any hidden treasure on my Kansas bluff? Asks Barry. Well, that's interesting. Now, it all depends on how you define treasure, Barry. Are you talking historical artifacts? Are you talking silver and gold? So, Barry has a bluff. Does he have any hidden treasure that... Well, it's going yes right away. Is there any treasure for Barry to find on his bluff? I'm going to try that one more time because it felt negative at first. Any treasure on Barry's bluff? And there you go. It's positive. Does he have... does Barry have historical artifacts on... Well, there you go. There's historical artifacts there, brother. So... Jesse James. All right. Anything associated with Jesse James on that bluff of Barry's? Anything associated with Jesse James on that bluff? Well, you're getting this. Getting a positive. There you go, Barry. You're welcome. Doug Stack's new business. Will that be successful? Look at that. Did you see that swing? Will Doug Stack's new business be successful? Boom, boom, boom. Just bing, bang, boom on that one. Do you see the speed with which we're getting some answers to? Sometimes it'll go, maybe. Other times it just goes, you don't even get the question out. Will the thing be, yeah, and there it is. So, good. Should Barry start searching his bluff for historical artifacts? There you go, yeah. Do you think he'll turn something up this year? Getting that. All right. Steph says she loves this. Let's see. What else we got? Who else has something? Did I buy a reliable car? I saw that one. Will I be successful with a new business I'm thinking about opening? Oh, that's Doug. Okay. There you go. I think we got a positive on both of those. Let's see. Anybody else? Did I miss anything in all caps? Nothing. So if you got a question, go all caps. We'll do this for a little bit more. It's already, it's the last hour's flown by. It's 10 minutes to 11. Let's go for at least 10 more minutes. Audrey says, will my cousin Michael or Michelle and I get our RV and do our road show before the summer of 2021? Okay, there you go. There's that whole question. Before the summer of 2021, will Audrey and Michelle get their RV and do their road show? Let's try that again. Will Audrey get an RV to do a road show? Okay, that's a yes. Will she do this in 2021? Boom, instant yes. How about before summer of 2020? Yes. There you go. The RV is a positive. There you go. Boom. There you go. You're welcome, Steph. Yeah, if you get out there, Barry. How far away are you from that property? Is it where you live, or is it a different? Are you in a different state or a different city, or are you nearby? So, Teresa said she should ask about hers. Well, why don't you, Teresa? What's your question? So here, I'll ask one of my own. I got so many things I want to do. Will Rainey and I build a house in 2021? Well, that was a big positive yes. I'm going to ask again. Rainey and I want to get a little bit of property, 5 to 10 acres, and build our own house. Will that happen in 2021? Well, according to that, yes. Let me ask, will getting that house and property be directly related to the book I am writing? Oh, see, no, I'm getting nothing there. Will I finish this book to be published in 2021? There you go. I'm asking some personal questions to just use a little time here while you're formulating questions. So, will the story in my book, will we see that go to a movie production? Well, it's saying yes. That's been the dream behind it since the beginning of it. Will that book facilitate the buying of our property and our new house? See, it's not saying that anything there. So I don't know what to ask it from that point. I don't know what it is. But, and if you would, just to verify, answer once again, will Rainey and I get some property and build our new house? Will Rainey and I build a new house on property this year or in 2021? There you go. It's saying yes. Having nothing to do with the book, it seems, though, or maybe very little to do with the book. I'll ask one more time. We'll see how this works. Will buying that property and building that house have anything to do? Okay, it's a positive, but let's say, will my book be the thing that will help us do those things? My book be the things that will help us do those things. There you go. Now it's a yes. So we'll see. Was the rune for me? Asks Morgan Snow. Yes. Well, I had my new RV. Will Teresa get her new RV in 2021? That's a yes. New RV for Teresa in 2021? Saying yes. There you go. Okay, I'm just looking to see if there were other questions. Well, that is good news for me. We'll see how that plays out, because we can always, when things are predicting the future, remember, the future is mutable. It's changeable. I don't like cards and psychics and stuff like this. It will predict the future only because we can change the future so much by the things we do. What if something totally unrelated to my future was changed because I had a totally unrelated thing to that business thing? Say I had a heart attack and it put me back in the hospital. What would that do to that business plan? It might totally change it. Because in the course of asking that question, is it seeing that maybe my diet or something I did would affect my heart? And therefore, those kinds of things, I'm using that as an example to say, those are the things that keep proving to us that the future is mutable, it's changeable. Any number of things could happen to screw up the future or to make it happen the way we wanted it to happen. So, good. I hope it helps encourage you. Deborah Sloan says, asks, will I get the rest of my house wired soon? Well, there you go. There's a positive on that. That's good to know. Yeah, it is an energy booster for intents. That's for sure, Teresa. That's what these things do. Right now, my intent that I have to keep putting out there is to finish this book on time. It's harder to write a book than you might think. Most authors will say, I hate the process of writing, but it's the outcome of what I've written that I go for. And so that's the daunting part. That's why I've been saying for months, I'm writing this book, still writing it. And it's getting it done. It's making it make sense. It's making I want all the things. I was just talking to another author yesterday. We were talking about writing our books. And I said, for me, it's the thing of, well, first it's the finding the time. And as if on cue, the greatest time distractor just walked into the room. It's a thing of timing. It's a thing of fitting it around. It's a thing of saying, I need to earn money to make a living, and therefore dedicating that time to my book that doesn't make me a living yet, meaning doesn't pay next week's electric bill. That's where, when I do logos and I do book covers and stuff like that for clients, that stuff's immediate. If I do a logo for somebody and I charge them $600 for it and they pay me in my PayPal, boom, it's done. I have it the same day I finish the logo, and I can turn right around and pay bills. And but if I'm working on a book or a big project of my own, it could be a year before I see any payoff on that. And so that doesn't pay me to sit and do that. Maybe eventually I'll be in a place where I can garner good advances for books. I could get an advance, a few $1,000s advance from my publisher for another book that they want me to write. But, that stuff is out there. So intents require actions, not sitting on our butts and doing nothing. Absolutely. You put out an intention that I'm going to write this book, and then I sit down and I never write it, never take time to write it. What's going to happen to that intent? And it's going to fizzle out, because it's not really an intention if you don't put your feet to it and make it work. Boom. So intention, visualization involves doing. It involves action. When you have an idea for something, that's not really an intent until you make it work. And the intention is followed up by your action, which brings actualization of that intent. So there you go. Just write, Doug, then get help. Let's see. What did Doug say? Ha ha ha, Audrey. Nice question. I only laugh because I haven't made any time for doing that. I don't have time to do it. But here, will I finish my tarot deck in 2021? How about this? If I paint a card a day, would I finish my tarot deck in 2021? There you go. Do I presently have time to paint a card a day? It's kind of saying I do. Maybe I need to manage my time better. Do I need to manage my time better? Whoa. Instantaneous. Yeah, Corey, heart attacks are scary. Mama, can you die from a broken heart? If you let it. Yeah, that's true. Let's see. Intents require actions, not sitting on our butts. Yep, we got that. Just write, Doug. Doug must be doing some writing. I just bought a motivational money book, so that's cool. There you go, Doug. Motivational money books don't do anything they don't do shit for us if we don't do what they tell us to do. But you know what they do? They make money for the people who've written the book. So, not saying it's a bad thing. There might be some good ideas in there. Yeah, I've been too, Audrey. You know what? It takes a back seat because doing those illustrations is time consuming. I've only done 3 of the illustrations out of a 78 card deck. And so I've thought of starting it over. I'm at an early enough stage and using a little different style of art than I used on that. I was pretty intense with that first painting I did of the High Priestess. And you know what? What's up with you guys? What's the screaming about? I may have that sitting right here. Let me just see if that illustration is right here. And the thing about doing those illustrations is that they, oh, this is for a different project. This is a project that's long done. I don't know why where these got out here and why they're here, but these are paintings I did for a children's book that we finished. God, I finished that about 3 years ago. These are all sitting right here. I must have pulled them out of somewhere. So these were for the Tales of Ilandria. So all of these. So like that. And the wolves. And this isn't the whole book. There was like 25 of these pictures, these images. So there you go. But I was looking to see if I had the not in this stack. Sad to say. So that's not there. But the Tarot images, yeah, they're time consuming. We'll have to see. I hope they're worth the wait. The thing about doing that, you put all that effort into it. Maybe I'll start another Kickstarter or another Indiegogo campaign on that or something. We were trying to raise enough money when I started that project a little over 2 years ago. Was it 3 years ago? I know we were in the Somerset house, and we've been out of that house for over 2 years. So it was about almost 3 years ago. And I put up a Kickstarter, and we got some of the funds for it, but we didn't finish that project out. I didn't have enough of it done. People wanted to see more artwork to be able to contribute to it. Well, the thing for me was I was looking to raise a Kickstarter, a certain amount of money, and I don't remember what we put on there, $14,000 or something like that. And that was for the cost of sitting for a month solid or more doing these illustrations, finishing those out, paying myself to do that, and at the same time paying for the initial publication of them. And the publication, the cards would have looked like these, as a matter of fact. I've talked about, this is the kind of box set we were going to do, like this. And a box that opens up, and there's not just the cards, but you get the book that details all the cards and the meanings of all the cards. And you get, then, of course, the cards themselves. And we're going to gild the edges like that with gold. Not real gold, but, of course, metallic ink. And so that's the set we were looking at. And the premium was going to be if you put in X number of dollars, you get a set of the cards. If you put in a huge amount toward that, you get a piece of the original art framed, that kind of stuff. You know, the actual, like this. You know, this is the actual painting for this from this children's book illustration. So it would be, you'd get the actual illustration like this, hand signed and framed. So we had all these different premiums, and we didn't get very far with the Kickstarter. So it's possible I may start that up again. And it's not just asking for money. It's asking for money to say, look, you get something out of this if you invest in this company, that kind of thing. So most people, it was at a level that if you invest this much money in this, then you'll get a free set of cards out of it. Get the free box set of cards for X number of dollars and up. And I think it was like, I can't remember. If you donated $50, you got the free box set. Now, a set like this in the store, this will cost you, let's see what these say. I have no idea what the, oh, right there, $32.95. So this boxed set like this with the book was $32, $33. And that set was 10 years ago. So a set's going to cost you about $40. It's boxed like that. And so that's what we're pushing for, you know. And, of course, manufacturing, there is a profit margin. Therefore, it doesn't cost us $40 to make the set. So if you put in $50, we said you get a free set of cards. And we still retain a good, 60% of that money put in that goes toward the project. And so there you go. We might do that again. Get this done, Audrey. Yeah, it was about 3 years ago. So if we start that up again, that's what I might do. And you'll see me hitting you up. I'll every day on the radio say, hey, go hit my Kickstarter. And we can do this. And if we make goal, then we're set and we're ready to go. All right. Hey, how about this question? If I start a Kickstarter for the Tarot set, will it be successful? Well, there you go. Look at that. We'll see. All right. Field Guy did a squirrel video yesterday. What were you doing as a squirrel? Oh, squirrels, dogs, squirrel. So would you film squirrels and put it online? I have to go look. Is it up on your YouTube? So, oh, what is that? Hold on. Brutal new ad uses Chuck Schumer's own words against him as control of Senate hinges on the Georgia runoffs. Now we take Georgia, then we change America, says Chuck Schumer. That's interesting. And it says Schumer was caught on camera saying, now we take Georgia, then we change America. The ad goes on to highlight exactly what that change would look like if the Democrats control the White House and Congress. And the ad lists packing the courts, defunding the police, socializing medicine, a Green New Deal, raising taxes, and taking away your freedom. All right. Well, you all think about that for just a minute. I'm going to say to you that this whole thing with Donald Trump, if he loses the presidency and Biden is the president, you will notice that there's usually, it doesn't happen often, that the Congress goes the same party as the president in an election. They try to keep checks and balances in there. Americans are pretty smart when it comes to that. But we'll see what happens. Right now, the Republicans are holding on to the Senate, but there's these two runoff races, which could change that in January, those runoff races. They look pretty good. They look pretty pink right now, meaning leaning red. But we'll see what happens. I think there needs to be, with somebody like Kamala Harris Biden ticket in the office, I think there needs to be checks and balances. Got to really prove your case and that it's the best thing the American people can do. Otherwise, you're going to get resistance in Congress. You can't just have, like with the impeachment of Donald Trump, you had a totally compliant House of Representatives. Every member of the House of Representatives, I think there were a few Democrats who defected and got off that boat. But you had the House was in control. The House was controlled by the Democrats, and the Democrats, it was a totally partisan vote for impeachment. And so you see how that would operate with the economy, the new Green Deal, with all of these different defunding the police, all of these things that are hot topic issues. What happens if a president and a vice president that are pushing this deal end up in office and they have a Congress that won't stop them from implementing their plan? Boom. You can see what happens. So let's hope that there is checks and balances retained. All right. Teresa's going to spank Barry Chad's butt. That I'd like to see on film. Put that up on your YouTube. You want to dig into his backyard, says Teresa. My goodness, the naughty language going on here. All right. Okay, guys, you know what? It's 11:12. We've been doing some, didn't do tarot readings today, but we did the dowsing, and that gives you an idea how that works. And so I hope that was cool for you and enjoyable. Let's hope that everything that came out as it said they were gonna. We seem to have a lot of good positives for people who were asking those kinds of questions. So let's hope that works for you. I'm sorry, Raini never made it down today.
She's sick.
Oh, she's sick today?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Jaeger sick. So
She took my allergy pills.
she took your allergy pills? Okay. Well, that's good. You're welcome, Scott Allen. And so everybody, thank you for being here today. I hope you enjoyed yourself for a couple hours on Sunday morning. If you're out east, it's already afternoon on Sunday. If you're here, it's 11:13.
The stove says
And
it's
if you're out
11:11.
west, it's still only just after 9 o'clock, so you're good. What's that?
The stove says it's 11:11.
Yeah, it's 11:13, 11:14 now. Go out there, I'll bet you it says 11:12 now. Stove might be a minute or two off. So this is universal time here.
What does that mean?
Means that's a time that's set through the internet. And careful, don't knock my stuff down. All right, guys. All right, so we're going to get out of here. You have any parting words of wisdom for these people? You want to tell them anything special they need to know?
I made more slime.
She made more slime.
Unicorns are real.
There you go.
Unicorns are real.
By the way, this one in about a month is going to be 6. That one a couple days before my birthday is going to be 9.
Yeah, on the 20th.
On the 20th, she'll be 9. One more slime. No, just use the stuff you got.
Oh. Mom already told you no more slime.
Yeah, Mom said no. What are you asking me for?
I'm gonna put it in the same
Trying
bowl.
to circumnavigate your mom's decision on that? Kids.
I'm gonna put
All
it
right,
in
you
the
guys.
same bowl.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Remember, all this week, Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. Quiet. Quiet. 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. The Intrepid Radio program, Monday through Friday. That's 10 p.m. That's 10 p.m. every weeknight. And so we'll be doing Intrepid Radio. So come on over and check it out. And if you want to see any of my stuff, go over to ScottAllenRoberts.com. And that's different spelling from Scott Allen in the chat room. Mine's ALAN. So ScottAllenRoberts.com. And check out my stuff, see what I do. You can click on the Son of a Patriot link there in the header. Get over and see the t-shirts and the mugs and all the stuff we have over there. And if you want a tarot reading, you know how to get a hold of me. So, and if you just want to donate to the cause, you can do that too. That link is on the header of my YouTube channel, the lower right of the header. So there you go. And I'll let you know if we're going to start up the tarot thing again. Maybe ask for you all to take a look at the Kickstarter when that comes out. And that's all I got, folks. Thank you for being here. We'll see you this week. And you all have a good day. And up here, it's going to start getting cold again in a couple of days by Tuesday. So we've been in the 70s all week, and now it's going to drop back down into the 30s, I think, starting Tuesday. So wish us luck. I think winter's coming. And we'll see you tomorrow night. Have a good day. Bye.